The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.
Welcome to the Gospel Road. We're going to look at 2 Corinthians 11. It says, I wish you would bear with me in a little foolishness. Do bear with me, for I feel a divine jealousy for you. Since I betrothed you to one husband to present you as a pure virgin to Christ, but I'm afraid that as the serpent deceived Eve by his cunning, your thoughts will be led astray from a sincere and pure devotion to Christ. For if someone comes and proclaims another Jesus than the one we proclaimed, or if you received a different spirit from the one you received, or if you accepted a different gospel from the one you accepted, you put up with it readily enough. Indeed, I consider that I am not in the least inferior to these super apostles. Even if I am unskilled in speaking, I am not so in knowledge. Indeed, in every way, we have made this plan to you in all things. Or did I commit a sin in humbling myself so that you might be exalted because I preached God's gospel to you free of charge? I robbed other churches by accepting support from them in order to serve you. And when I was with you and was in need, I did not burden anyone, for the brothers who came from Macedonia supplied my need. So I refrained and will refrain from burdening you in any way. As the truth of Christ in me is in me, this boasting of mine will not be silenced in the regions of Achaia. And why? Because I do not love you. God knows I do. And what I am doing, I will continue to do, in order to undermine the claim of those who would like to claim that in their boasted mission, they work on the same terms as we do. For such men are false apostles, deceitful workmen, disguising themselves as apostles of Christ, and no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So it is no surprise if his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness. Their end will correspond to their deeds. I repeat, I let no one think me foolish, but even if I do, accept me as a fool, so that I too may boast a little. What I am saying with this boastful confidence, I say not as the Lord would, but as a fool. Since my boast according to the flesh, I too will boast. For you gladly bear with fools, being wise yourselves. For you bear it if someone else makes slaves of you, or devours you, or takes advantage of you, or puts on air, or strikes you in the face. To my shame, I must say that we were too weak for that. But whatever anyone else dares to boast of, I am speaking as a fool. I also dare to boast of that. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they offspring of Abraham? So am I. Are they servants of Christ? I am a better one. I am talking like a madman, with far greater labors, far more imprisonments, with countless beatings, and often near death. 5 times I received at the hands of the Jews the 40 lashes less one. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. A night and a day I was adrift at sea, on frequent journeys, in danger from rivers, danger from robbers, danger from my own people, danger from Gentiles, danger in the city, danger in the wilderness, danger at sea, danger from false brothers, in toil and in hardship, through many a sleepless night, in hunger and thirst, often without food, in cold and exposure, and apart from one of other things. There is the daily pressure of my anxiety for all the churches. Who is weak? and I am not weak? Who is made to fall, and I am not indignant? If I must boast, I will boast in the things that show my weakness. The God and the Father of the Lord Jesus, he who is blessed forever, knows that I am not lying. At Damascus, the governor under King Artius was guarding the city of Damascus in order to seize me. But I was let down in a basket through a window in a wall and escaped his hands. 2 Corinthians 11. False prophets, deceivers, foolishness, confidence. You know, sometimes I think there's days that I have conversations at work talking about things that I know that I kind of get the look that I'm being rather foolish. I mean, do you ever see that? Have you ever felt that yourself? So Paul is, talking about the different things, being foolish of, bringing Christ, sharing Christ with others, which I have been deemed foolish with that as well. But how many times have you went to do something and not been accepted? Even Jesus wasn't accepted by his own people. It's interesting of how we're dealing with people every day at work, in the public, just dealing with the world on where they are with their personalities and how they understand or do not understand. When have you had that frustration because you're trying to help something or someone do better, or you're in a position that, of course, you have someone over you, and they really have no clue as to what they're doing? I was chatting with someone earlier this week, and we're having a conversation dealing with a few things. And I was just kind of airing my frustration, and they said it was it was like something to the effect of the idiots leading the stupid. It's not exactly at 100%, but I mean, that was the idea. That is what we were dealing with. But how often do you feel that way? Because you're having a conversation with somebody, and this is supposed to be someone that knows what they're doing, and they're having the conversation with you and proving that they have no clue because they haven't taken the time to understand. And then they end up talking down to you like you have no clue what you're talking about. It was the dumb leading the inept. That's what the comment was. So then we get frustrated, or at least I get frustrated, because I'm sitting here going, do you not understand what I'm saying to you? A line that I use a lot is, do I need to get a crayon to explain this so I can draw it on some paper? When you are in a position, when you're learning something, you need to have that zeal to really understand it and learn it. And what I'm finding today is you have a lot of people just trying to get by the best they can without doing anything, which is frustrating. Not wanting to learn. I honestly heard a comment a few months ago. I was walking into work, and they were getting ready to use audio recording, which is like what I'm using here to record this podcast, but we use it, every day to make, the audio that we deal with, because that's what we do in radio. And, they've been in radio for, a while. 20 years, 20 plus years. And they were showing them how to use this audio software that they've probably been using forever. And the comment was, well, I don't need to know how to use this. You are in a position that, you should know how to use this. Not only that, you are on air, so you should know how to use this. Again, I get frustrated. Shake my head, actually. Because have you ever been in that position that you know something, you bust your hump to do the best that you can, to be the best that you can be, but you never get anywhere? Because that's me. 30 plus years in radio, I've had 2 full-time jobs. Otherwise, it's been part-time. Otherwise, and then even being part-time or being full-time, I lose a job because I become the budget cut. Yeah, the budget cut. Working my tail off. And I'm just a number. Which then, how does that make you feel? I know for me, and I know we've had this conversation before, because I have zero self-esteem. Never have. Going back to when I was a child. Second guess everything that I do. Do not have a lot of faith in me. Though I get it done, it just doesn't always roll through and compute in my brain. And then things like that happen. Which then just kind of says, yeah. You really don't matter. It's a hard world that we live in, and there's lots of issues that we deal with every day. Lots of mountains we have to climb. These are not easy trails. They're rocky. There's obstacles. But you keep pushing forward, because that's what you have to do. You keep moving forward to be better. To strive to be the best that you can be. Sometimes I make it. Sometimes not so much. But it's not giving up. It's keeping that momentum to keep moving forward, to be the best that you can be, to then inspire others to help them be the best that they can be. I mean, over the years, again, 2 full-time jobs, but then being the part-timer, I was the trainer. People came in. I showed them how to do it. I had conversations. People asked me how to run things. But the company doesn't see that because the companies aren't local. And they give no power to those on a local level. Now, we're running into the same thing again, but a different reason. Because of this whole pandemic, many people have lost jobs. More people are going to lose jobs. Because they want control. They want to control you. They want to control me. They want to have the say of what to do with your life. Take that away from you. We've been seeing it for many years because that's kind of how things go. Comes in waves. Because one way or another, we end up reliving history in a different way because we're not learning from history in any way. Surprise, right? Again, we are just brought up to be these sheep, to do what they're told. To be a yes man. Yes woman. Yes person. And that's all they want. No thought. No ideas. Though we tell you we want them, but when you go to share them, they don't want to hear them. And you wonder why so many people are trying to figure out how to work on their own and not work for a company. I was having a conversation this past week talking about, in my lifetime, this has got to be the most separated I have ever seen us as a people, as a country. Probably as a world. And that's in my lifetime. I'm not saying that it probably hasn't been this way in other times through history. I wasn't around during the Civil Rights Movement. I wasn't around during World War II. We've learned about it in history. We read about it. We watched documentaries. So we've seen separation. We've seen that wedge being knocked in between and keeping people apart. So now for me, in my lifetime, this is the time I'm seeing that for myself. It's not good. We're being pulled apart. We're not able to have conversations. We're being kept apart. Unless you do what I say. We have to be careful. Again, knowledge is power. Unfortunately, I hear things and I remember things. Guess I'm not supposed to. I guess when I hear something and then when I hear somebody say something else, I'm supposed to just forget whatever was said before, and then whatever their new statement was, that's their new thing, and that's the only thing that's ever been said. But I can't work that way. And I'm sure I've done the same thing, that I've said one thing and then I've said something different. Either because I've learned something or, something has changed, I understand. But then I'm watching people in the media that are getting their 15 minutes of fame right now. And it's not that they say one thing and then switch to another. No, they say one thing, another, back to the original, back to the other. I mean, they're flip-flopping continuously and never giving the exact same information. And I'm supposed to trust you. See, I have a problem with trust anyway. But when you're acting so boisterous, I mean, they're boasting about what they know. But what you know and what my brain is saying, not computing. Because you can't say the same thing twice. And I somehow remember things that I learned in school. Guess I wasn't supposed to. That was a bad thing. Don't remember things. Like I said, we're in a rough time. We have to be diligent. We have to be careful. We have to be able to think and use our own minds. We need to be able to sort through the true and the false. And sometimes that false seems so true. Being deceived. So as Paul said, bear with me as I become a little foolish. Because sometimes that's what we have to be. Because we're taking that step away of what the norm is, of what they think is right. Because it might not be. So bear with me in a little foolishness. Because I can tell you now, my foolishness is not going to stop now. We need to work on ourselves, body, mind, and soul. Body, mind, spirit. Personally, professionally, spiritually. That 360 degrees of health. Which, speaking of health, I didn't make it to the gym hardly at all last week. Again, just another busy week. And I should make it a couple times this week. But even though I don't make it, it's still there. And I get back. I don't let it go. Be humble. Love one another. Love your enemy. The Bible says, faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. Because that is what we all need. We need to love one another. We need to help, encourage, and lift up one another. To help them be the best that they can be. To really pick them up when they're having those hard times. To be able to keep them moving forward. To be that best person that they can be. In all aspects of life. 2 Corinthians 11. That's what we looked at today. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to share it with others on social media. You can find me on social media on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, My Buddy Jimmy, YouTube, My Buddy Jimmy 101. Even find my other podcasts that I do, my vlogs that I do. Do a lot of different things. Just kind of get things out there. Do a word of the day. I actually had I'm reading the pronunciation chart for a word, and then someone said I said it wrong. We're not all the same. We're all different. We all do things different. We all encourage one another different. But encourage positively. Because a lot of times when we hear that criticism, it stays in our head. Because I hear a lot of criticism every day in my head. If you enjoyed this, be sure to give me a good review. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening to The Gospel Road. Have a great day. God bless.
Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com.
Barbecue provided by Kenny's Rib Wagon, catering ribs for your pleasure and serving daily at Plaza Pub, 62nd and Douglas in Des Moines, across from Merle Hay Mall. Find Kenny's Rib Wagon on Facebook.
The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.